is Mehjabin Fatima, Commerce Lecturer at Elizabeth High School and Junior College. Welcome back to my class. So in this session, we are going to start 7th chapter of Commerce, that is Entrepreneurship Development. So in the previous chapter, we have learnt about the entrepreneurship. Now in this chapter, we are going to see its development. Now let's proceed with our chapter. A detailed description and meaning of the term entrepreneurship and the traits of entrepreneurs was given in the last chapter. This chapter is devoted to throw lights on the skills, determination and zeal to convert an opportunity required into a successful business entity. The process of setting up of a business, entrepreneurship development and entrepreneurial opportunities in Telangana state are discussed in details. So in the previous chapter, we have learned the meaning of the term entrepreneurship and the traits of entrepreneurs, and in this chapter we'll throw lights on the skills, determination and zeal to convert an opportunity required into a successful business entity. Let's see the meaning of entrepreneurship development. Entrepreneurship development is a prerequisite for an overall economic development of any country. In India, we have mixed economy, that is coexistence in both private and public sectors. The private sector, especially small scale sector, requires entrepreneurial development. Entrepreneurial development is a process in which persons are prepared to face business uncertainties and risk. This is possible with proper education, training, motivation, orientation and reorientation of entrepreneurs. So here in India, we are having coexistence of both private sector and public sector, and in the private sector it specially has the small scale sector which requires the entrepreneurial development. And when we define the entrepreneurial development, it is a process in which the persons, they are prepared to face the business uncertainties and risk by giving them proper education, training, motivation, orientation or reorientation, and growth of any enterprise will be dependent upon the entrepreneurial development program, and these programs will help the entrepreneurs to improve their characteristics, vision, knowledge, planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling, hard work and dynamism, etc. So hence we can define it as a human resource development. Now let's see importance and role of entrepreneurship development program. So entrepreneur is a person with a vision, with a drive and with the ability to bear risk. A successful entrepreneur can transform the economic scene of the country. Hence, it is said that an economy is an effect for which entrepreneurship is the cause. Entrepreneurship development has become a matter of great concern in all developed and developing countries all over the world. It plays a vital role in eliminating poverty, unemployment, helps in balanced regional development, prevents industrial slums, available resources are properly made use and diffuses social tensions. All these aspects are discussed. So an entrepreneur is a person with a vision who can change the economy of a particular country, or who can change the economic scene of the country. Hence it is said that economy, it is a effect for which entrepreneurship is a cause. And in order to develop any country, entrepreneurship development has become the matter, and it plays a vital role in eliminating poverty, unemployment. It helps in balanced regional development, or it also prevents the industrial slums. Available resources are properly made used and diffuses social tensions. Let's see the importance of EDP. So first one is eliminates poverty and unemployment. Increasing unemployment is the chronic problem of most of the developing countries. EDPs can help the unemployed people to opt for self-employment and entrepreneurial careers. Self-programs such as National Rural Employment Program, Integrated Rural Development Program, 20-point program, etc. are in operation in India. All these special schemes intend to eliminate the poverty and solve the problem of unemployment. So if a person wants to develop himself, he can take up a chance for entrepreneurship, and this will also eliminate the poverty and unemployment. An unemployed person can make himself employed by choosing this field, and there are several programs in India such as NREP, that is National Rural Employment Program and Integrated Rural Development Program, that is IRDP, and 20-point program, etc. These programs or these special schemes intend to eliminate the poverty and unemployment in India. Next one is it prevents industrial slums. The urban cities are highly congested and leading to industrial slums. Decentralization of industries is very much required by relocating the industries. EDPs help in removal of industrial slums as the entrepreneurs are provided with various schemes, incentives, subsidies and infrastructural facilities to set up their own enterprise in all the regions. This will control the industrial slums and also reduces the pollution, traffic congestion, overcrowding in cities, etc. So, these urban cities, they are highly congested, we can say, and it will lead to the industrial slums. And decentralization of the industries, it is very much required for relocating the industries. And this entrepreneurship development program will help in the removal of industrial slums, as it will provide the various schemes such as incentives, subsidies and infrastructural facilities to set up their enterprise in overall region, and it will also control the industrial slum, and it will reduce the problems like pollution, traffic congestion, overcrowding, etc. Next one is harnessing locally available resources. Since abundant resources are available locally, proper use of these resources will help to carve out a healthy base for sound economic and rapid industrialization. The EDPs can help in harnessing these resources by training and educating the entrepreneurs. So, obviously, we all know that we do have abundant resources, but to use those resources properly is the main thing. And here, these EDPs will help us to harness these resources by training and educating the entrepreneurs. And the last point is it diffuses social tension. Every young person feels frustrated if he does not get employment after completing his education. The talent of the youth must be diverted to self-employment career to help the country in diffusing social tension and uninterest among youth, which is possible by EDPs. So, here every youth, they will get frustrated or they will be in tension if they don't get employment after completing their education. So, their talented can be diverted to self-employment careers, and this can help our country to diffuse social tension and unrest among youth. This all can be possible with the help of Entrepreneurship Development Program. So, basically there are many objectives of Entrepreneurship Development Program. Let's have a look at some of those objectives. So, the first one is to identify and train potential entrepreneurs, to impart basic managerial understanding, to develop necessary knowledge and skills among the participants, to provide post-training assistance, to develop and strengthen entrepreneurial quality and motivation, to analyze the environmental issues related to the proposed project, to select the right project and product, to formulate the effective and profitable project, to know the pros and cons of being an entrepreneur, to prepare entrepreneur to accept the uncertainty involved in running a business, to enable him to make managerial decision on his own, to enable him to communicate clearly and effectively, to develop a broad vision about the business, to make him to subscribe to industrial democracy, to develop passion for integrity and honesty, to make him learn compliance with law, to analyze the environmental setup relating to the industry. So, these all are the objectives of Entrepreneurship Development Program. So, when we will have a glance on these objectives, we can understand that it does not only develop the particular person, but it also develops the country's economy. And it will develop a person by not only one aspect, but there are several aspects through which it's developing the person. Now, let's see what is the process of setting up a business. So, first one is preliminary stage. Once an entrepreneur becomes aware of the concept, he could make up his mind and proceed towards taking a concrete action to establish the unit. Studies of various ongoing projects have revealed that inordinate delay in the implementation of the project can be avoided in case the ground realities are properly understood and steps necessitated which an entrepreneur needs to go through are taken care of well in advance. The entrepreneur can draw a plan of action so as to suit his requirement for setting up an industrial unit. For setting up projects, certain procedures are to be followed. So, if an entrepreneur has set up his mind that he is going to start his career for his if he is going to start his career by starting up a business, then he must proceed towards his goal. And for setting up some of the projects, there are certain procedures which has to be followed, and these procedures, they are governed by the current rules and regulations of the state and central government. And the steps followed in the promotion of the venture can be discussed below. Like, first one is decision to be self-employment. An entrepreneur should be at the outset undertake a market survey of the product line chosen by him or her before establishing the industrial unit. This would help in gaining an insight to the existing marketing conditions and market reaction for the production. The decision to become entrepreneur is influenced by a number of factors which is presented. Now, if an entrepreneur has set up his mind towards the business, then he must think of the skills and abilities which he has and to which field he should move. Like, there are the factors on which this decision can be made. There are internal factors and external factors as well, by which a particular person can decide to be self-employment. So, when we will have a look at internal factors, it contains educational background, occupational experience, desire to work independently in manufacturing line, desire to branch out manufacturing, family background and others. So, with the help of all these internal factors, the person can decide to choose his field. And here we are having some external factors too, like assistance from government, assistance from financial institution, availability of technology and raw material, demand for the product, utilization of excess funds. So, if the person is having funds, how to utilize them and what is the demand for the particular product in the market, like that. So, if a person wants to set up his own business, he must look on the both factors, that is internal factors and external factors as well. Then he can move towards achieving his goal, or he can choose the field to achieve his goal. And all of these internal and external factors are necessary for entrepreneurial activity to take place. And here, small entrepreneur, they are motivated by internal factors and they can fructify their proposition to become an entrepreneur when external factors such as financial assistance, technology and raw materials and infrastructural facilities, these all are available, and these facilities or assistance serve as the spark in the lightning of the entrepreneurship. So, this decision to be self-employment has completed. That was the first step, and the next step is study and scanning business environment. After taking a decision to be self-employed, the entrepreneur should study following business environment prevailing with respect to the proposed industrial unit. So, after taking the decision to be self-employment, an entrepreneur should move towards the next stage and should study the following business environmental prevailings. Like, first one is administrative framework, then policy guidelines, then rules and regulations. What are the rules and regulations to be made for his company? And the policy guidelines and rules and regulations, these all are provided by the government concerned. Third step is selection of the idea. For selecting the suitable project to manufacture certain products or to provide any service, following factors should be considered. So, now in order to proceed towards the goal, there are some factors which has to be covered, like is it an innovative idea, whether competition in the area is less, whether raw material is easily available, whether infrastructural facilities like industrial land, power, water, etc. are available. So, these all are the questions which a person has to get the answer in order to start up his business. Whether the entrepreneur has relevant experience and reasonable knowledge in the field. So, whether he is having the knowledge, what is the innovative idea, if the competition is there, then up to which point the competition is there, and whether the infrastructural facilities are there like industrial land, power, water, etc., or whether government policy encourages production of the product, or what is the profit margin available. So these are all are the questions which an entrepreneur must get the answer before starting up his business, and he should undertake the market survey of the product line which is chosen by him before establishing the industrial unit, and this could help him to gain insight into the existing marketing condition and market reaction for the product. Now the fourth stage is deciding organizational structure. So he has to decide the organizational structure of his business. The options for the organizational patterns of the business unit are as follows, that is proprietary, partnership firm, cooperative society, Hindu undivided family and company. So here these all are the types of business which we have discussed in the first year itself, like sole proprietorship, partnership. So the person here has to decide by which way he is going to choose his business, or by which way he is going to commence his business. Like if he wants to start his business by his own, that will be the sole proprietor, or he wants to start his business with others like partnership, or if he wants to join any cooperative society, or if he wants to have a Hindu undivided family business. So these all are the types of businesses, and here the person can choose his own field. The next stage is preparation of project report. Having decided upon the product and organization, the entrepreneur has to put his ideas and other information sort in black and white. This should be so well presented that it provides all relevant information in reference to the project. Now under this stage, an entrepreneur has to report his project, and he has to put his ideas in other information which can be sorted in black and white, and this should be so well presented that it should provide all the relevant information in reference to the project. Then the next stage is project appraisal stage. A final view on the proposal is taken, which is based on combination of factors like technical, financial, commercial, managerial and operational. So now here the final view will be there on the proposal, which is based on the combination of the factors like technical factor, financial factor or commercial factor, managerial factor, operational factor. And here banks and financial institutions are required to examine the viability of the project before deciding whether to provide financial assistance or not. If the bank want to give the financial assistance service to the particular entrepreneur, then at this stage the government will decide by seeing the viability of the project. Then the next stage is selection of location and site. Here an entrepreneur has to select his business location and its site. For any industrial project, selection of suitable industrial site is very important decision and is based upon several considerations. Therefore, advanced planning is required to study market potential, general business climate in the area, etc. are detailed as under. So here there are some of the points which have to be taken under consideration in order to select the location and site of the business. So the first one is nearness to market and nearness to raw materials, to see whether that particular place where the person wants to start his business is near to the market or near to the raw material or not, or availability of power and water is there or not, and what are the climatic conditions, and what is the availability of required skills and prevailing wage rates, and what is the availability of right express and parcel delivery services, and availability of modern transporting system. So these all are the points which a person has to consider before starting up his business. The next stage will be provisional registration. Provisional registration enables a party to take the necessary steps to bring the unit into existence. So here what is the necessary step to bring the unit into the existence? Here in this stage the provisional registration will enable a party which will take the necessary step, and after providing satisfactory proof to the unit having come into existence, it can be converted into a regular registration later. Application for provisional registration is submitted to the district industry center. So if they are satisfied with the proofs of the unit, and then it can come into existence and it can be converted into regular regulation later. The next stage will be inquire for machinery and technology. The requirement of the machinery, equipment, spare parts, tools, etc. should be properly accessed, and the proper size of the plant and machinery should be decided upon. Once the fixed assets are created, it will be very difficult to change them. The machinery should be necessary and adequate. It is sometimes cheaper and convenient to have some components bought out for getting done on job work basis from outside than making fresh investment on machinery for making them. So here the inquiry should be done for machine and technology. Obviously no business can be run without the help of the assets. So here the requirement of machinery or equipment, spare parts, tools should be properly accessed, and a proper size of plant and machinery should be decided. And once the fixed assets are created, it is very difficult to change them. So these all were the points of the preliminary stage. Then the next stage will be implementation stage. So the second stage in the promotion of a venture or in setting up of a small scale industry is the implementation stage. It comprises 12 steps and the details are explained. So the first step is statutory licenses or clearance. Like various administrative bodies have been set up to consider request for the issue of the industrial license, import of capital equipment, foreign collaboration, etc. These bodies are expected to decide the request within the stipulated time limit. As a matter of general practice, initially a letter of intent is issued stipulating conditions subject to which license will be issued. The industrial license is issued on furnishing evidence that the prescribed conditions are fulfilled. So here under this stage the industry should get license, right? So after providing all the proofs and documents to the government, an industry or business can get its license. Now the next step is arrangement of finance. Business units can obtain finance for their projects under the three main categories. So the first one is term loan. So business unit can get its finance from the three of the categories. So the first one is term loan. Long term requirement for acquiring fixed assets like land and building, plant and machinery, and for security deposits and working capital margin. So the term loan means it is a long term requirement for acquiring fixed assets. Next one is bridge loan. This loan is granted for the shorter duration to enable the entrepreneur to continue with the implementation of the project till the term loan applied for and sanctioned is disbursed by the financial institution. So it is So under bridge loan, it is the loan which is granted for the short duration and which will enable an entrepreneur to continue with the implementation of the project. Then the next one will be working capital. Short term advances for working capital is a form of pledge, hypothecation, cash, credit, bills, facility, etc. So it is also a short term advance for working capital, and it can be in the form of pledge, hypothecation, cash, credit, bills available, etc. Then the next step will be application for financial assistance. After the project is finalized, provisional registration and other formalities are completed, the entrepreneur has to submit an application for financial assistance along with the project report to the financial institution bank for the term loan. So after the project which has been finalized by the entrepreneur, now the provisional registration and other formalities should be completed, and entrepreneur has to submit an application for financial assistance along with the project report. He should also attach the project report to the financial institute or bank for having a term loan, and similarly a separate applicant has to be made to the bank for working capital requirement. Then the next step will be building construction and civil works. After the sanction and disbursement of first installment of loan from financial institution, building construction activities are started. If the pre-built factory is obtained from state government industrial estate, this activity is already completed by taking the possession of the shed. If the plot is already required, the civil work follow. So after the sanction and disbursement of first installment of loan from financial institution, building or construction activities should be started. The next stage will be placement of order for plant and machinery and other fixed assets and procurement. The orders are placed with selected suppliers. The timings of placing the orders are decided on the delivery of these suppliers, so that the procurement of plant and machinery should synchronize with the completion of the building construction. Now, it is the duty of an entrepreneur, or it is the work of an entrepreneur to place an order for the plant and machinery and other types of fixed assets and procurement, and he should place the order with his selected supplier. Then the next stage will be power and water connection. So it's the work of the entrepreneur to check whether the water and power connection is there at the business unit where he is going to set up his business or not. So he should check out the connection of power and water. The next stage will be procurement of personnel and their training. So if the entrepreneur is employing the employers, then he should look after their personal development, and he should also train them, or he should motivate them. So in short, he should try to develop his employees personally by giving them training and by motivating, as untrained and unmotivated employees can cause a business to fail just as surely as strong competition or economic downtowns. Then the next stage will be raw material procurement. Here the new entrepreneur will have to ensure the timely flow of raw material in anticipation of actual requirement before launching his new product in the market. And he has to keep more sources of supply of raw materials instead of depending on a single source of obtaining raw material. Then the next stage will be installation and commissioning of plant and machinery. So a new entrepreneur should formulate suitable layout which would facilitate production operation in the best possible manner. So he should pay attention to the maintenance of machinery and equipment, provision of adequate elbow room for each worker to perform his operation, and the needs of adequate ventilation to carry out work in congenial surroundings, and so on. So here an entrepreneur should look after the installation and commissioning of a plant and machinery. He should look out that all the employees should be at their place along with the installation of the machines, and they should work harder, and proper maintenance should be there. Then the next step will be marketing. So marketing, it is a complex process of creating customers for products and services. It involves knowing and reaching out to customers. So here the entrepreneur should aware the customers about his new products in the market, and here the entrepreneur should listen carefully towards the needs of the customers, so that he can launch the new product related to the demands of the customer. Then the next step will be permanent registration. So permanent registration can be obtained from district industry center when the entrepreneur has taken up all the steps to establish the unit. Means if the entrepreneur is satisfied with all the steps, like where the factory building is ready, or whether the power connection is there or not, or whether the machines have been installed or not. So after checking up all of these things, then entrepreneur can apply for permanent registration of his unit. Then the last step will be profit generation and repayment of loan. A successful entrepreneur should be given vigilant about his cost of production and profit generation. If profits are not generated, he should find out the reasons and try to minimize the cost and adjust his production volume. So here under this stage, if the entrepreneur has got the profit, or if his business is running in a proper manner, then and he is generating a lot of profit, then he can pay back his loan. Otherwise, if his business is not running properly, or if it's failing to reach out the goals, then he should try to know the reason, or he should try to find out the reasons and try to minimize his cost and adjust the production. So these all are the steps of the implementation process. Now here we are done with the topic, and let's wind up our chapter here itself. So I hope you all have understood this chapter very well. Let's continue our next chapter in next class. Thank you.